Yeah, no, actually, I was gonna talk about that as well. So, it was kind of like distracting in the way that they did this demo and how like flirty they made this voice, right? Like it sounds like your weird aunt after like three glasses of wine at Thanksgiving. But like, apart from that, I don't want it to take away from the actual like impressiveness of the technology itself because there's so much more to it than just like a sexy voice, right? Because um, okay, here's the photo of a picture that ChatGPT 4o generated. So we know that from if you ever use DALL-E or any like, or even I think Midjourney or any of the like AI photo generators or picture generators, they can't do text, right? The text never makes sense. And it's just, it comes out scrambled. Like you can say, like, hello world, like just type, like, make a photo that says hello world, and then it'll sort of say something similar, but then all the letters will be jumbled up and it'll look really weird. But this is a tweet by Greg Brockman, who's I think he's one of the founders of OpenAI. He tweeted this photo and he says that this photo was completely generated by ChatGPT 4o. And like, look at it. All the words make sense. It forms complete sentences. This looks like a regular classroom. This looks like a real lecture, but everything is AI. So AI can now do text or ChatGPT 4o specifically, which is like I didn't think that this day would come this fast, right? Because like if you just look at AI generated images from just a year ago or 2 years ago, they barely look like anything, or they look like the stuff of nightmares, right? Like it's like you have sleep paralysis, like in real life when you look at one of those like AI generated images. But then it went from that to what we have with Midjourney, which is like completely photorealistic, and then now it can do text as well. So that's like innovation number one, and yeah, like innovation number two is just like what you said, Dom, which uh, you can have a conversation with AI, and they showed off other use cases for it as well. So I think one of the demos was they placed the phone in between two people, and one person would speak Italian, and then the other person would speak English. And you tell the AI whenever you hear English, translate to Italian, and then whenever you hear Italian, translate back. And it was really fast. Like it was almost pretty much real time. Like if you can get like the UN to be run like by ChatGPT, like I think it would work because it's literally that fast. And then you can interrupt it as well. So you don't have to like speak a full sentence, wait for it, which is the way that AI has been done so far with like, Google Assistant or Siri or whatever, right? Like you have to say something, wait for it to process, and then spit it back. With ChatGPT 4o, it's basically like in the middle of a response. You can interrupt it and be like, hey, wait a minute. That's actually not what I want. Can you do something else? And then it'll understand you. So that's another like huge innovation. Other things I think like people have tried using it for like coding and stuff like that. I'm not a software developer, so I'm not sure how good it is at that, but apparently it's like really impressive on that front as well. And yeah, like it's just it's amazing like how fast this AI has advanced. And now it's like I don't want to say this lightly because I know this is a huge statement, but I can honestly say that in my opinion, this is the most impressive demo of any product I've seen since the iPhone. So I'm not sure if you guys seen the iPhone announcement originally with Steve Jobs. He like basically got on stage and he was like, "Hey, here's three. We're gonna announce three products today. We're gonna announce an iPod, revolutionary internet device, and we're rethinking the mobile phone." And then he's like, "By the way, that's actually not three different devices. That's one device." And then that like shocked everybody because like it's like, how do you combine an iPod with a mobile phone with an internet browsing device all in one, right? And it sounds super simple to us and sounds like even like a little bit dumb to us and how like people wouldn't think that those three things will work together. But back then, it was the case that it was like a revolutionary product, right? It looked totally different than any of the Blackberries and Nokias that were on the market that were supposedly smartphones, right? It was just one big touchscreen, and there's multi-touch too, which is a new technology that wasn't widely available at the time. So yeah, I think like that was how impressive the iPhone was in 2007 when it first came out. And then um, I'm the same amount of impressed as the iPhone in 2024 when I see ChatGPT 4o. So let me toss the question back to you guys. Like, do you guys think that, like, where would you rank this on the degree of impressiveness with like a full, let's say 1 to 10, right? With a full 10 being like, you know, what I just said, right? This is most impressive thing since the iPhone or since whatever, right? Since the wheel, since fire, I don't know. And number one, it's like I'm not impressed at all. It's just whatever. It's like the Rabbit R1 or whatever, right? So, yeah, what do you guys think?
This is in like my realm of my own personal YouTube channel. By the way, subscribe to that. Anyway, I'll give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. Sorry, that was just my pre-rehearsed lines, but yeah, no, it's genuinely surprising. Like as I mentioned before, and then we were touching on it like a bit after I mentioned, the conversations were pretty realistic in real time. Like I didn't necessarily see the Italian to English, English to Italian yet, but I'm definitely gonna check out that video once this podcast ends. And I'm really impressed with how like adaptable and like fast and how humanistic like the ChatGPT 4 is. And I don't, well, what I'm trying to say is like I'm looking at this photo right now and I genuinely thought it was someone who took a photo at like, I don't know, like Harvard or wherever, and then just like decide to post it somewhere. But yeah, this being like 100% like AI made is pretty impressive. So yeah, 8.5.
I definitely think that this is way more impressive than the iPhone release. I'm not gonna lie, like substantially. Um, because honestly, looking at the iPhone release, I was like, great, you stuck a, um, you know, you made an iPod Touch that can now call people. Congratulations, right? And I mean, maybe that wasn't entirely fair to them at the time, but that was literally how I viewed that announcement back in the day. I wasn't, and obviously I was a child, so it wasn't like as big a deal for me. I wasn't gonna get one anyway, but obviously, like even looking back now, like I don't think the iPhone has like completely. It's changed a lot, but it hasn't done as much as I could see this AI doing, which is a lot. And I think that the thing with the AI that I think is most concerning is the fact that it can do a lot of things that people at work do. And I feel like that's the real kicker for the AI over like the iPhone. Like for example, like with an iPhone, okay, maybe we're replacing some landlines, maybe we're replacing the iPod Touch sort of like small device industry. We're building this new area where people are going to be buying these candy bar smartphones and using them. That's a huge industry now, and everyone's going to have one, and it's going to be great, right? I don't think that the number of potential job losses caused by that was like that substantial, right? Some secretaries, I'm sure, lost their jobs. Like there was stuff that would have to happen that would be a result of the iPhone innovation and smartphones being a thing, right? But I don't think that the effects were that substantial. Whereas with this AI, it's quickly advancing. It's advancing so quickly that I could see it moving to be in a lot of white collar jobs pretty quickly. And that's pretty concerning given that those are, some of our more high paid jobs in this current day and age. Right. So I think that is one aspect like that kind of bumps it up a lot higher to me is the fact that the iPhone didn't really concern me Whereas
So
this could be concerning.
would you put this on par with maybe the invention of the internet itself? Because the
Um,
internet, when it first came into being, like, people didn't really take it seriously for like a while, and then all of a sudden, everything moved online, and then a lot of people lost their jobs because the internet just completely invalidated their job, right? So I think, like,
mhm.
maybe this AI thing is gonna be on that level soon, if not already, where it's like a second internet almost.
Yeah, I think that I'm aligned with that. That would probably be around that level, and like I think that it might even be more than that in the future, because I think that the internet still needed people, whereas this seems to be, at some point I feel like the AI will take over, not like the world necessarily, but like the development of the AI, right? Because at some point the AI becomes superior to the people at making the AI better. And then that's kind of, and then if we, obviously if we allow it to do that, then you know it will keep improving, and then the people are kind of irrelevant to that scenario. um so I think it's pretty substantial. I'm a little bit worried about Skynet and all that stuff coming to be a real thing.
So right now, the concern is how high is Nvidia stock going? Because that's like, it sounds ridiculous because Nvidia stock is already almost what, $1,000 per share, and it's, you know, I think it's like number two or number three world's most valuable company right now, right? And it's like I can see it soon becoming number one because, look, like the only thing that's limiting this AI right now is the amount of GPUs. Right after I saw this ChatGPT-4o announcement, I'm like, they're gonna need a lot more NVIDIA GPUs. Like they're gonna need as many GPUs as NVIDIA can sell them. So like this, people are saying like, oh, NVIDIA is a bubble because it went up from like 100 to 1,000. It did like a 10x. It's like it can go up a lot more, even at this point, right? So I think that people are actually not bullish enough on NVIDIA, as crazy as that sounds. But like, what do you guys think?
I don't even think just Nvidia. I think also does, if I recall correctly, Microsoft has a big stake in OpenAI. So I don't even think that just Nvidia is going to be getting a lot of value from this AI thing. I think that um, our good friend Microsoft is also going to be seeing that gain, which is also a bit concerning on that front. We got two of the world's largest companies, um, basically are the main ones that control this super technology in the future, right?
Mhm. Yeah, last question, and then we got to move on to the next topic. Do you guys see this, you using AI to benefit your own life in any way, given what you've just seen of like what this AI can do, like whether it be ChatGPT 4o or whether it be any other form of AI? I know Google has their Gemini platform and stuff like that. So do you guys see yourself using AI for your everyday life going forward?
Um, like I'll chime in here because ironically it kind of like chimes into like where I was. So like, as you guys know, I was in like Rome and Paris. Although a lot of people there do speak English, like I didn't have much of a language barrier. I felt like it wasn't their first language, so if I could use ChatGPT as kind of like a middle person to like be able to communicate with them in like a very efficient way, I feel like that would be like super helpful. I'm sure a lot of people would use it on their vacations, and I was actually using AI for like a lot of the food recommendations and like tourist attraction sites that were need to or that I would want to see. And if I could like communicate with an actual like AI via the 4.0, I think it would be even more effective and really cool. I already use like Gemini and ChatGPT for attractions. Like having it more efficient would be really cool. So I could definitely see myself using it in the future, not for just this, but a lot of other things too. So yeah.
I think that by necessity we will have to use it, because you either don't use it and can't keep up, or you use it and you can keep up. So I think that, like, in my life, I think that I will definitely be using it because, there's basically going to be a necessity at some point to be able to use it. And so if you can't use it, you're going to be at a disadvantage compared to someone else who can use it. And that's kind of like how the internet was, right? When if you could use the internet and no one else could use the internet, then you had an advantage over people who weren't able to use the internet. So I think, and as Dom mentioned with the translation thing, like that is like such a clear, huge advantage. And honestly, as this keeps going, like maybe it gets to the point where like you can just have a headphone in and it translates in real time what the person is saying, and then you can then converse with them and they can have a headphone in and then have the same thing. And then suddenly, like, my fiance is Japanese and half Japanese, so she's got Japanese family members. I can't speak to them currently, right? Maybe at that point, though, ChatGPT will be able to take that conversation, turn it into English, so that now we can communicate, and then vice versa. Like, there's so many areas where this could provide tons of value for your life, in addition to being a little bit concerning.
I hope Rosetta Stone has a generous return policy, because you're not going to be needing it. Yeah, no, the translation thing is really huge in my opinion. So I've always had this idea, and I think it's probably already technically achievable now. We just need someone to implement it. But my idea was that you could text in any language, right? So say if you're using, whether it be iMessage or Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, whatever, right? You can use your own chat app, instant messaging app, and then you can set your preferred language. So let's say if you only speak English, you set it to English, and then you can type in English, and then whoever receives your message, they have their own preferred language set on their device. So if it's a different language, it'll automatically translate it to their preferred language, and they would receive it in their language. And then they text back in their language. And then because you have yours set to English, it'll translate to English before it hits your device. So you could literally be having a conversation with someone that doesn't speak your language at all. And you would never even know, unless you met that person in real life, like you would otherwise never even know that they don't speak your language, because the translation will be instant and it'll be so like intuitive and seamless, and it'll, no context as well. So like, one thing that maybe is holding it back until now was that, if you ever went to Google Translate and you like translated it like a couple of times, like back and forth, it'll lose meaning and then it'll not make sense after a while. But the benefit of having something like ChatGPT-4o is that it can understand context. So I think it'll do a lot better than what Google Translate or Apple Translate or whatever it can do now in retaining the meaning when it translates languages back and forth. So I think that that's like a huge thing that is probably going to get integrated into messaging apps like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp soon. And I wouldn't be surprised if you can just one day hit a switch and then, like you can talk to anybody in the world, no matter what language they speak on the other end. So yeah, and that's just one use case, by the way, and this is not counting like a billion other things you can do with AI. Yeah, exciting times, and the Scarlett Johansson voice is also like not bad. Like it helps with AI adoption, let's just say.